In the past month, comedian Louis C.K. has become a YouTube sensation.
I was on an airplane and there was internet, high-speed internet on the airplane. That's the newest thing that I know exists.
Footage of his October appearance on Late Night with Conan O'Brien has been viewed more than 1 million times.
And then it breaks down, and they apologize, the internet's not working. The guy next to me goes, this is bull.
Time sat down with Louis to discuss the clip, Everything's Amazing, Nobody's Happy, and his ongoing comedy tour, which takes him to Tampa on March 19th. So first I want to ask about this clip, because it's actually an older clip. It's from last October. Why do you think that so many people just love it? It resonates so well.
I did that in October. I don't remember when in October, but it was soon after the markets, that first big tumble happened. That was material I was actually saving for my next special, but I thought this really means something right now. Like, nobody had lost any jobs yet. It was just, things looked like they were about to get ugly, and people were afraid that capitalism was failing. And so to me the idea was, well, maybe that's not terrible. As long as it's happening, there might be a good view of it.
Well, and it's funny how many different ways you can kind of take that clip and stretch it.
I don't think anyone in any comment that I've read has really understood what I meant by the whole thing. I don't think it's made any real, but I don't care. It was just a joke. One kid said, so what? If something doesn't work, I have a right to expect it to work. If it advertised that it was fast and it wasn't, why wouldn't I be mad? And, that's the way some people look at it. And I think, though, it's a trap. It's an unhappy trap. You don't really need that picture of Axl Rose in your phone that quickly, do you? Like, was it really important anyway? You know what that's interesting about that clip to me is it's really about me. It's not about other people. Like the story I tell on Conan about the guy next to me on the airplane when the internet shuts down suddenly. There wasn't anybody next to me on that plane. That was me. There was nobody next to me. People don't talk to me on airplanes. Anytime you see me doing a bit where some stranger says something to me, it's me. The fact is, I was really upset that the internet shut down. I was livid. And then I caught myself and said, wait a minute, what are you upset about? This was incredible that this was possible even. And I started, it was kind of like an epiphany for me. I started seeing things differently, like realizing that when we get to a gate and they go, we need 10 minutes because the guy at the gate, the plane at our gate hasn't backed out yet. And I go, okay, come on. Like, that was me. Let's go. Why? It's actually not going to get me there quicker. It's not going to get, you know what I mean? Like, I'm losing nothing. I just feel bad. But if you could just, like, take a breath and calm down and go, yeah, this is as good as they make these right now. This is as good as it is. And it's pretty goddamn great. But somehow we don't, doesn't make us happy. And that's too bad. I don't think that means people are bad people. It means that they're unhappy.
We just want jetpacks.
That they have all this great shit. If you had a jetpack, you'd be like, I have the shittiest jetpack. I can't believe I got this jetpack. Who's your service provider on your jetpack? Because did they make the new one? I hate this thing. It sucks. And then we'd all sit there and talk about that. Part of me feels like if people have to go back to basics a little bit, they'll start to see that, because you have a job and then you don't make enough for the shit you even own. You have a house full and a car and a house of all shit you can't have. You can't afford it. And you don't even get the pride of saying, like, I have this job and because of it I have that car. I have this job and because of it I have custody of this car that the bank is paying somebody else for. And if they ever come calling, I'm going to go to jail. It's really it's a shit life, I think, that we're living right now. And I feel bad for people because I see it in their faces all the time. So that's really more what it was about. I didn't mean to say we're a shit generation. I meant to say that we're a shitty generation. One or the other, I don't know.
So you mentioned that this Conan clip, a lot of the material was from when the markets kind of first bottomed out. Seems like you've got a lot of material to work with now.
Yeah, it's and also that bit is a big part of my, like, that's 4 minutes, I think, and it's about 40 minutes now of stuff about that area. And it changes every day. Every time I do it, I change it because the world is changing every day. So the gravity of the situation is much deeper than it was. It was kind of an easy, playful thing to say back then. So what? What do we need all this for anyway? And now I say it, and I was in Seattle doing a theater there, and I'm I was saying, oh, okay, so capitalism is dead and the economy's screwed up. Oh, well. And everyone's like, yeah, we all lost our jobs yesterday. Like in Seattle, I was like literally looking at an unemployed audience. And that doesn't mean I can't, as a matter of fact, the material means more to them, but you have to be aware of who you're talking to in an audience.
Are there any shows that stand out that you just think the audience was great?
One of the best shows I ever had was not in this part of the world at all. It was in Baghdad. One of the country western guys, he was on stage and the lights went out and the sound went out all at once. It was like 2,000 soldiers standing and it was cold. And they're all just standing there and they're, in their camos just, waiting. And all of a sudden there's no show. And they said it would take an hour to fix the generator or half an hour or something like that. So I said, I'll go on because I don't need a guitar, I don't need electricity. The thing that hit me was that I was standing with this guy, Sergeant White, and he looked at the soldiers and he said, if this was Madison Square Garden, they would be yelling and throwing stuff and wanting their money back. But these guys were just standing there, just waiting. It just broke my heart, So I just went on stage and they were it's the best audience I ever had. They weren't like an audience of American consumers that are like, well, I wanted to see a show. It's for me. Then they leave and they go, I wasn't crazy about the first. Didn't really work. Just the way we are now. And then they'd write a blog the next day. Subpar show, not really great. That kind of thing. These guys are like, this guy doesn't have a mic. He needs us. And so everyone that was there noticed this. They all crushed in. Like they all pushed in to each other's backs to get closer to me, and every joke they would laugh way harder than the joke was funny. And I was filthy. That's the dirtiest show I ever did, and I think it stands out to me as one of the best shows I ever did.